You know how I always do this? Like, I come back for a second video and be like, hey, I bet y'all didn't expect me to see me so soon. And then I kind of just like fall out consistent-wise. But that's not the case, I hope. Anyway, Chris Paul got cut from the Clippers. And originally I was not going to talk about this because it's technically, when you think about it, it's not really big news. But because like, you know, I got history with the Clippers, I'm so like, I keep saying this, like me and the Clippers were like head to head going up against each other. Like, bro, it's like a one-sided beef, if I'm being honest. But let me just tell you about this, right? When they cut Chris Paul, basically their franchise GOAT, because we could all see that. Like, did you really know the Clippers before that was Sam Cassell and everybody else? Do you remember that time? No, I don't. Because first of all, I was way too young to watch the NBA, and like I for sure was not doing that. If I was gonna watch the NBA, watch the Clippers. You've all seen the story, right? Chris Paul got cut by the Clippers, or gets waived in an overnight away game for Atlanta, right? This is like the number one point I want to mention. There's multiple points right here, right? Loyalty in the NBA doesn't matter. I don't want to hear it no more, but I don't. That's why I have the Lakers hoodie on. That's why I will keep having multiple jerseys and shit like that, because I don't care. That's why I team hop, because this shit doesn't matter. We know Chris Paul probably said some stuff behind the locker room, be like, yo, let's just try to do this. And then the coaches were like, no, that's not really our game plan. And then like, the coaches are more focusing on like the losing record, and it's like, bro, CP3 is in your ear, like, yo, just talk. And then you know how CP3 talks. Like, his message is gonna be clear, but he's gonna like take some shots at you as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all have seen different players talk about how CP3 talks, so it's not really like a surprise to anybody. But then again, it's like, so y'all just brought him in at the start of the season, and then we're like, wait, hold on, you're not supposed to be doing this. And I guess they just didn't expect him to be so vocally, and I guess it depends on the locker room or whatever it is. Like, there's so many different personalities clashing. I'm going to get to that, right? But the thing about the whole loyalty thing in the NBA, I don't care. Whatever team Russell Westbrook is on, I'm going to support it, because these teams do not care about any other player if it's not their, like, even, I want to say their franchise GOAT, but then it's like, okay, well, CP3 was technically their franchise GOAT if you want to talk about it. But then they just did him like this. I was gonna say, like, if you spend your first like 8 years of your career in that same team, but then we saw what happened to Luka Doncic, so that goes out the window. I guess maybe if you're lucky enough to win a chip and then stay in the same team for like 10 years or something, maybe they'll treat you nice. I don't know. Of course, I'm not disrespecting anybody that's like, hey, I'm loyal to one team. I could never support multiple teams or like switch teams up. If it's in my city, I'm like, okay, I have unconditional support for that, because, bro, that's me. Like, y'all playing for us, basically, right? Honestly, that might be more fun because you're going through the ups and downs of like that team in general, like the history, like for sure, like the Mavericks. Oh my goodness, I don't want to make this entire thing about loyalty, but hopefully I'll get my point why. Like, I'm just trying to explain my side. I'm not saying you have to do that, what I'm doing, but I'm just saying if anybody was gonna, like, because I have homies in real life be like,
why do you support multiple teams? That shit is whack.
Do you see what they're doing to these players? So anyway, back to Chris Paul. Certain people fit in certain locker rooms. That's fair. There's a lot of egos. It's a lot of egos in the NBA. I think a lot of players also say that as well. A lot of egos in the NBA that cannot really be managed, and some people just don't like to talk about certain stuff, like, you know, the obvious stuff that nobody wants to be like, hey, let me hold you accountable for that. No, they won't do that. I promise you they won't. Especially the Clippers. Did we forget? James Harden got traded to the Clippers. First 5 games, they didn't win because they started Westbrook, Harden, PG, Kawhi. And do you know what all those 4 players are? They could be ISO scorers, basically, right? They could be playing ISO. They need the ball, basically. They can play, make ISO, and whatever. Nobody said nothing. Who stepped up? Wasn't Kawhi. Wasn't James Harden. Wasn't PG. Because I think he even said it in his podcast one time. And Westbrook was like, I guess I'm going to take the blame because nobody's saying some shit. Technically, James Harden should be on the fucking bench right now. Westbrook was like, hey, you just came to the team. I'm going to make sure you try to fit in. Everything's fine for you. Because he's going to help the team win. You get my point, right? It's like a similar situation with the Clippers of today, right? Where they have defensive coverages that are just bad, or like maybe they're just falling apart. And CP3 is like, hey, can we just change this? Can we do something about this? Like, I know this might be like the most obvious thing ever for him, for CP3, but for them, it's not. The whole thing about Kawhi Leonard switching off Klay Thompson because he couldn't keep up for a second, right? And then Van Gundy was mad. He was like, nah, bro, you can't be doing that and shit like that. But what? Like, some people on the team were probably like, hey, bro, this, like, he's doing too much. Like, I'm trying to focus on winning, and this dude is in my ear like, oh, I can't do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do that. Like, bro, just leave me alone. If that was me, right? If I was in a locker room and Chris Paul said some stuff like, hey, bro, you're not doing this on defense, and you're not doing this on offense, and you gotta pass this, and you gotta do this. And then once he leaves, I feel like I'm gonna remember that, because I'm like, hold on. So he just left. Y'all just waived him. Y'all just fired him, basically, right? Because he was saying the truth. Now, of course, I don't know what CP3 has said, but I feel like before, when he was with other teams like OKC, the Spurs, feels like people have been listening to him. I don't know if you've changed his tone all of a sudden, but usually the message is clear. Like, I feel like if I'm in the NBA, right, and my teammate is so mad, like, he's so mad, like, he calls me some type of name, I don't know. There was one clip of Jimmy Butler and UD, right? Udon has him on the Heat, on the bench arguing a timeout, right? And then UD was like, yo, I'll beat your fucking ass. And then I think after the game, they just like dapped it up and was like, all right, let's go. Like, that's how it should be. That's why I always will tell y'all, bro, about Bradley Beal's no trade clause. That shit is fire. I don't care what nobody says. Because a player like Bradley Beal shouldn't have that no trade clause, technically, right? But it makes so much sense. Get leverage on them, bro. And I've seen the argument that, oh, Chris Paul he's too old. He can't really tell me what to do anymore. Like, what? Even though it's the right thing. Like, I get it, practice what you preach. But I mean, he already did that. He's been doing that, right? I'm pretty sure even when CP3 was in his prime and he was telling the centers to do something, obviously he couldn't do it. Like, he's not there setting screens and like, he's not being the role man. He was giving them advice on stuff that he couldn't do physically. So the same thing that you can apply on back then, you can apply now. I'm not going to excuse some of the stuff that Chris Paul might be saying. He's not a dirty player, but he will say some dirty shit. If that's the case, right? I'll be like, yo, you're my teammate, whatever, bro, but just stop calling me out my name. Not saying Chris Paul is doing that, but I'm also not like, because I don't know what he's saying. I wish we knew like verbatim some stuff. Like, okay, Chris Paul said, oh, you're a bitch or something like that. I don't know. And I'll be like, hey, bro, Chris Paul, you're my teammate, but communicate in a different way. You can do that. And then Tila not being on speaking terms with him, like, what? There was also this one clip where it's like, it was practice. Then Tila was like, oh, fuck CP. And it was like, okay. That was I think that's generally out of context. The NBA, like, is so weird. Like, not every team is like the OKC Thunder, where it's like, okay, we have one goal, which is winning. Everybody says the goal is to win championships, but they don't mean that. It's so valid to hate them now. Like, it's so valid. This is not like a random player that was there for like 1 year or two. Like, no, this is Chris Paul. This is literally the dude that made your franchise relevant with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. But now you don't care. You don't care. Fuck it. I feel like Tilu's coaching skills are pretty, like, they're good, of course, but I don't know. I feel like in the moments that matter the most, he can get you through a regular season. He can put up some beautiful plays and stuff like that, but I feel like the playoffs are just such a different game. I realized that when he got outcoached by Jason Kidd. Tilu getting outcoached by Jason Kidd just doesn't sound right to me. It just doesn't. But he did. I was like, hold on, bro, is this just a fluke? They didn't play us in the playoffs. I was like, no, this is not a fluke. This man relies on like one strategy, and if that doesn't work, it's over. Oh, let's leave Russ open. 40% on your ass. What's up? 7 games. I don't care. Yeah, oh, but they pushed the Nuggets to 7 games, though. Technically, if you want to talk about it, this man, Tilu, got outcoached by David Alleman. Technically, if you want to talk about it. Even though it was a 7-game series, it was very close, but then...